Early life. Carol Penny Marshall was born in the Bronx, New York City, on October 15, 1943, to Marjorie Irene Ward, a tap dance teacher who ran the Marjorie Marshall Dance School, and Anthony Tony Mastorelli, later Anthony Wallace Marshall, a director of industrial films and later a producer. She had a brother, actor-director-producer Gary Marshall, and a sister, television producer Ronnie Hallen. Penny's birth name, Carol, was selected because her mother's favorite actress was Carole Lombard. Her middle name was selected because her older sister Ronnie, wanting a horse, was saving pennies. Their mother chose the middle name in an attempt to console Ronnie. Penny's father was of Italian descent, his family having come from Abruzzo, and her mother was of German, English, and Scottish descent. Marshall's father changed his surname from Mastorelli to Marshall before she was born. Religion played an odd role in the Marshall children's lives. Gary was christened Episcopalian, Ronnie was Lutheran, and Penny was confirmed in a Congregational church, because sent us any place that had a hall where she could put on a recital. If she hadn't needed performance space, we wouldn't have bothered. She grew up at 3235 Grand Concourse, the Bronx, in a building which was also the childhood home of Neil Simon, Paddy Chayefsky, Calvin Klein, and Ralph Lauren. She began her career as a tap dancer at age 3 and later taught tap at her mother's dance school. She graduated from Walton High School, a public girls' high school in New York, and then went to University of New Mexico for years, where she studied math and psychology. While at UNM, Marshall became pregnant with daughter Tracy Reiner and Tracy Henry, and soon after married the father, Michael Henry, in 1963. The couple divorced 3 years later in 1966. During this period, Marshall worked various jobs to support herself, including working as a choreographer for the Albuquerque Civic Light Opera Association. In 1967, she moved to Los Angeles to join her older brother Gary, a writer whose credits at the time included The Dick Van Dyke Show. Personal life. While at college, Marshall met Michael Henry, a football player, and left school at age 20 to marry him in 1963. They had one daughter named Tracy in 1964, now Tracy Reiner. The marriage lasted 3 years. On April 10, 1971, Marshall married actor and director Rob Reiner, who later adopted Tracy. Her marriage to Reiner ended in 1981. The couple had 5 grandchildren. Marshall had a brief relationship with singer Art Garfunkel in the mid-years, and he credits her with helping him through his depression. In 2010, it was reported that Marshall had been diagnosed with lung cancer that had metastasized to her brain, but 2 years later she was fine now. Following her recovery, she published a memoir, My Mother Was Nuts. Death. Marshall died in Los Angeles on December 17, 2018, at the age of 75. According to her death certificate, the causes were cardiopulmonary failure, atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, and diabetes mellitus type R. Marshall is interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills. The L from her Laverne character is emblazoned at the bottom of her headstone. Producer Calendar Girl 1993, executive producer Getting Away with Murder 1996, With Friends Like These 1998, Risk 2003, Cinderella Man 2005, Bewitched 2005. Director of Penny Marshall's styles is the use of simple pictures that allow the actor to convey the message. All her films are not multi-million-dollar movies filled with special effects or fancy camera action. However, she employs a loose framing, focusing camera on actors so that they are distinguished from the background. The loose framing focus is accompanied by very strong lighting of the scene to increase visibility on specific objects and important characters in the scheme. Additionally, throughout her directing, she uses film to tell a story. She does not attempt to use film as an art form. Thus, all her story sources are made up of original and adapted screenplays. For instance, it was written by Gary Ross, best known as film writer and producer of Pleasantville. Additionally, and Spielberg, who wrote Toy Story, is one of the accomplished film writers and producers. Moreover, Awakenings was adapted from Oliver Sacks' book and written by Steven Zaillian for the screen. Steven is the writer of Schindler's List and A Civil Action, just to name a few. Furthermore, She relies on character techniques to portray the meaning of themes in the films. For instance, she uses prominent characters like Malcolm Sayer and Josh Baskin, whose characters reflect their persona as well as draw people to the film. Additionally, Penny Marshall places a big emphasis on the settings, which are very selective in detail. Another Penny Marshall technique is that her films are classical. For instance, Marshall's best directorial accomplishment was in Awakenings, that starred Robin Williams and Robert De Niro. The film was nominated for Best Actor Robert De Niro, Best Picture, and Best Adapted Screenplay. Awakenings is organized upon a three-act structure. A League of Their Own is a tale that is strongly centered on the plot, and there exist both bad and good people, as well as characters that get changed by their experience. Marshall's films tend to address contemporary issues in society such as coming of age, women's accomplishments, and oppression of the mentally disabled. For instance, the oppression of the mentally disabled is well elaborated in the film Awakenings. The film unites two big stars in a story about the plight of mentally disabled individuals and how a person who is not living with any life-threatening condition gets to learn a lesson about humanity after spending time with a mentally disabled person. Achievement of women has been elaborated well in the film A League of Their Own, a film that stars two blood sisters joining the women's baseball league during World War II. In that time, many men in professional leagues joined the armed forces. The movie exposes exciting victories and personal conflicts on the field, while, at the same time, building sisterhood and strong bonds among teammates.